All right, so welcome back to another episode of SFA Live right here from Jacob Javits Center. And of course, we're here at the Fancy Food Show, and this is a fun day because we have had a chance to really get some pretty amazing people on set with us. And of course, Elly Truesdell, thanks for stopping in today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you have kind of a whole array of titles here, but with Canopy Foods.
Yes.
And a ton of activity in this specialty food space. Before we get started in some of that, let's talk about Canopy Foods.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So Canopy Foods is a food production studio, and we offer production not only in the way of manufacturing, truly making the food. We also offer a lot of support services around brand strategy, creative capital, financial capital, and as the people who are making the food and manufacturing, we can offer sort of any number of enhancements and sort of flexibility around you making your product. So we can help with distribution, we can help with fulfillment. We're sort of a one-stop shop for food production.
So this is the stage in which an incubator company has either emerged and then now they're looking for someone to help take them to the next level?
Yes, very often. We sort of saw this opportunity in the life cycle of food products being grown, where you're starting off, you might be making it in an incubator, you might be making it in your own kitchen, and you get to a point where you've got a big PO, you need to scale, you need to grow, and finding a reliable, transparent, true partner in co-packing or contract manufacturing is really, really a challenge. It's actually sort of a nightmare. So we saw that as offering a lot of value. If we could be highly transparent, super collaborative, and true partners in co-packing, that would be a pretty big differentiator from other suppliers.
Well, and this is with just the fact that we've seen probably a dozen incubators sprout up in the last 2 years in the food space. The movement in this space for you guys must be amazing.
Yeah, we have no shortage of deal flow. It's sort of amazing. There's a lot of demand because, traditionally manufacturers in food and beverage have sort of competed on volumes and scale and efficiencies, which leaves you often without a very high quality product, or you as an entrepreneur who cares so much about your process and the integrity of the product is left with really few options that are attractive. So both because now there are all these incubators that need that next step. We're fed a lot of those companies. Also, just from my past life, I was with Whole Foods Market for 9 years, just have sort of this incredible network of young or scaling brands who need a better partner to help grow them to the next level.
How much fun, too. All right, so you sit on the board, of course, with Canopy Foods. You act as a mentor to FoodX and Chobani on their food incubator.
Yeah.
And then an advisor to a company that I had not heard about, and that's AGBA. Tell me a little bit about them.
Yeah, AGBA is really interesting. They are soil-grown, certified organic greenhouses in upstate New York. They've taken a lot of technology and interesting processes that are somewhat developed in Europe, but haven't seen much life in the U.S. And what's so interesting about their model is they can grow 365 days a year here on the East Coast, which is huge when you think about how much we truck in from California in terms of produce. So it's year-round, and the fact that it's soil-grown and not hydroponic or aeroponic is a really big differentiating piece for me, just because I think that soil-grown agriculture is really important. There's just a ton around nutrient density and sort of the traditional way of farming that's preserved there.
So how is it done with soil-grown? Because vertical has been kind of the focus on aquaponics and different types of soilless systems. How would this work in
these are still,
grown?
imagine just fields as if they were an outdoor system, same agriculture that you would see anywhere else, but they are enclosed in greenhouses. The difference, the mechanization is more on the picking, the seeding, the labor, the data collected. So it's sort of much like at Canopy, it's enhancing the parts of the growing, making food that are outside of it.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. So advancing the speed and probably the quality of the product in terms of the harvest.
Yep. There's that. They're also offering some really cool products. So they do baby kohlrabi, baby carrots, baby beets, baby hemp. So they're not just doing lettuces, which is mostly what you'll find from hydroponics.
Yeah. All right. So you've been around some of these food incubators for a while. So that kind of gives you an expertise level of what these food incubators are looking for in terms of kind of the next food unicorns that are coming out. Tell me what you think is the trend going in that direction with food incubators? What are they looking for?
Interesting. I think incubators are at an interesting point, and this is, in my 10 years in the industry, there's been such a massive transition of sort of true mom and pop family run businesses, people who had an apiary, they had honey and wanted to bring it to market, or were making jams. Now there's so much capital pouring into food that you've seen a little bit of a transition where you still have some of those family run businesses and people who have a ton of experience and heart and passion in what they're doing, but you also have a lot of brands to begin with that are sort of seeing an opportunity and growing into them. So I think incubators now are finding they want to take advantage of hopefully that crossover. People who are really passionate, who have some level of authority or experience, but also have the legs to get to the next level, whether that's because they already have some capital or just because they see their ability as entrepreneurs to scale and grow.
Right. And at least for us, we've been researching this for many years. We have a show called Sustain that kind of focuses in on some of these types of emerging brands and emerging companies.
Yeah.
One thing we've noticed is the differentiation now that there are some large companies, Tyson Foods, obviously Chobani, which you're associated with, who have jumped into the incubator area, obviously looking for those next emerging brands. But now, potentially, you've got kind of the VC world, because tech has kind of consumed up a certain amount of brain power. The restaurant groups for private equity have exploded. Looking for those emerging brands in the restaurant space. VC money now looking for emerging brands in the food service space. What in terms of specialty food, what do you think the future of that is?
I think the thing that I love to think about in terms of specialty food is that so many of the suppliers who are here today and producers at the specialty food shows have been here for 30, 40 years. They've been doing it forever. It's traditional, old way of making product.
Right.
And luckily, people are sort of coming around to the fact that that's still the best way to make food. And so there was that moment of a lot of tech inserting itself into food. And I think after a few years of that, people have started to realize that you don't want to put the tech in food. You want to put tech in all of the sort of areas around it, the infrastructure, the support system. But specialty food should be maintained as it is, traditionally, few ingredients, made with integrity, with care, all of those things. So I think the future, to me, and how I see it, and actually how we're looking at our business at Canopy, how I look at AGBA, is keep the hands, keep the love, keep like the great ingredients and culinary talent where it needs to be, which is in the food, and then enhance, put capital, digitize, and make more efficient all the rest of it.
Yeah, I think you hit on the point, and that is that with the explosion of specialty foods as a whole, and especially now where consumers, maybe 5 years ago and especially 10 years ago, emerging brands dropping into a major retailer like a Whole Foods probably was pretty tough.
Yeah.
So now the direct-to-consumer space, which has exploded obviously because of the internet, social media, and all those kinds of things, is really taking the next level up. I know that when we've walked the show aisles here this week, that's what we've found. A lot of people that are going direct to consumer. Do you see that as a future of kind of getting your legs under you for market research and feedback?
I do. I think that's the great benefit to it. I don't think it's the only thing. There was a time where you just launched in brick and mortar retail and you grew regionally, nationally. Right. There was such a sort of formula there, and then you have the direct to consumer brands that have come along and they've exclusively sold directly to customers, and for so many reasons that gives you a lot of engagement and ability to trial. Yeah. But I think, and where we feel like we're positioned at Canopy is to service all channels, and you sort of have to. You can't, you might start with direct to consumer, but you'll come back to retail. You might start in retail, but you're probably going to start selling your products directly.
All right. So Elly Truesdell, thank you so much for stopping in today.
Thank you.
Canopy Foods, if somebody does want to, if they're an aspiring specialty food maker out there in their garage or their kitchen right now, sweating it out, and they're thinking, I need some help, how do they get a hold of you?
You can contact me at Elly at canopyfoods.com, which is ELLY at canopyfoods.com.
Great.
Our website's under construction, but soon will be online.
Soon to be live. All right. All right, so thanks again for stopping in on another live episode here from the Fancy Food Show at Jacob Javits at the Specialty Food Association's Extravaganza right here in New York. We'll catch you on the next episode.